Hello, welcome back to A Ride Through the Heavens. Today I'm going to go over a couple of accessories for the DJI Osmo Action 3. I've been using this camera for a while, I love it, and I'll show you some of the reasons why, but I won't go into detail about the camera. I want to go over a couple of the accessories I've been using, and I have been using both the PGYTECH Cage and the small rig cage, and I've decided that I'm going to send one of these back. I purchased both of these with my own money. This is not a sponsored video. I'm just going to give you my honest opinion of these two and the reasons why one of them works best for me. At the end, I'm also going to show you a helpful tip that may be very helpful for some of you that are built like me with maybe a little bit fat fingers.
So here you see I have both cages. I have the PGYTECH and the small rig. These are both good quality cages, both made out of aluminum, very easy to use and very functional, but they do have some of their own qualities and potential problems. But I'm going to start out by just showing you the cage that comes standard with the DJI Osmo Action 3. I bought the Adventure combo, which, as you can see down here, comes with, the main reason why was I wanted the 2 extra batteries and the charging case. It does come with the selfie stick also, which is a nice stick, but that wasn't necessarily everything. And then you get 2 mounts, so the magnetic mounts. But let's take a look at this first. This, to me, does not offer too much advantage. It loads from the front. You just unclip it, slide it in, snap it back in. So there is some protection. There is a rubber sealed shutter button up on top, but other than that, there's really nothing else up on top. There is no quarter 20, there is no cold shoe. The rubber protection on the shutter button will probably work better, I would think, in dusty or sandy conditions. So it's not really going to seize up on you as some of the other ones might. I'll get to that. So there is access to the side USB door. So the USB port does have full access, which is nice. The quick shot button also rubber sealed. The left side, though, has no access to the battery door. So the battery and the SD card are not accessible. It does have a mount for vertical video, which is not important to me, but sometimes you do want to mount it on the side, maybe on the side of your vehicle. So having a mount on this side is definitely worth it, but not critical. The bottom just has access straight through, just a pass through to the camera itself. So other than that, really the only function is protection and vertical video mounting. So to me, it's really worthless. I never used it, went to look for a cage immediately as soon as I bought this. So let's take a look at these. Let's start with the PGYTECH. It's a simple design. So to get the camera in and out, you just have a clip right here. Slide the camera in, clip it shut. Make sure you push it down. From there, the top also has an external button for the shutter, but it is not sealed. So I'm a little concerned that, in dirty conditions, this could start to seize up. It does have a cold shoe and no quarter 20 mount. This is just a access hole for the speaker to hear the sound coming out of the camera. So on the right side, you have direct access to your quick shot and power button. And then you also have access, just like the other one, to your USB port, which is important. Now the right side, on the PGYTECH and the standard cage, you will not be able to use a DJI Mic receiver. So I use the DJI Mics and I really like these microphones. The receiver has a USB-C that is to mount into the side of the camera. If I take this door off, you'll see that there's just not enough room. This actually would just fall right out. It's because there's this step in here. It's at least of 1/8 of an inch or so. I did find a workaround, which I keep inside of the charging case, which is just a USB-C to USB-C adapter. So if I put that on the mic, put it in the camera, it does work. But as you can see, it's hanging off of there. It's a little wobbly. You can see it moving around. Just for vlogging or something, it may be fine, or tripod mount, but I would not want to have this moving around much. I'd be very concerned that you're going to loosen up that USB-C port, maybe the solders or the wiring inside there, and next thing you know, your USB-C port does not work anymore. So that's not really a solution. It was a workaround, but like I said, it's not something that I would continue to use that way. The bottom of the unit also has a pass-through. So if you mount the selfie stick to the bottom of the unit, it will also work well. The problem with this is that recess in here is also about 1/8 inch. So as you connect this, you lose about 1/8 inch of clearance to grab those tabs and release it. And if I'm doing it like this with my finger and my thumb, it doesn't work too bad. But if I try it with my thumb, I can't even get my thumb in there. I mean, I can, but it's very awkward. So to me, that is a design flaw. I'd rather have it flush. You'll see it's flush on this one. So there is also no 1/4-20 or any other mounting option down on the bottom. On the left side, there is a button to open up the door to have access to your battery and SD card. So that is important. That is pretty much a standard feature on any cage that you will find, except for this piece of crap. So that is the PGYTECH. Let's take a look at the small rig. So the small rig, as you can see, it's a similar design and similar construction, but it does open up slightly different. So this is a rear mount. So if you see this orange tab here, you slide it over and you can open up this rear hinge door. From there, you slide the camera in. Now, before I do that, you notice that these cameras come with a couple of these rubber protection rings around the lens. I think it's more for protection, so if you use it without a cage, you can see this sticks out farther than the side of the camera. So if you were to drop it without a cage, it will protect this lens cover and hopefully keep it from shattering or breaking. But other than that, and maybe a little better grip, you really don't need that rubber ring. So I just pop it off. I really don't use it. I watched a review on this cage where the gentleman said that the only way to get this camera in this cage is to take the lens off. When I saw that, I thought, okay, that's a deal breaker. I'm not buying that cage. But as you will see here, you can drop it right in. Loads no problem. You just need to take that rubber ring off, which I don't know, now that you have a cage, you can see it's protected all the way around. Now, if you drop it just right and it hits right on this corner, I don't know if this rubber ring was really going to protect from that anyway. So The Cage gives you enough protection, and these are replaceable lens covers. So it's about 20 bucks to get a new one if you do drop it and crack it. It's better than cracking your lens itself. So on the right-hand side, you will notice something that, or I should start with the top, sorry. You have direct access to your shutter button. You also have a 1/4-20, which this can come in handy for tripod mounts upside down, or any other accessories. And then you have a nice cold shoe mount. I like this cold shoe mount because it's a little bit farther away from the shutter button. One problem that I saw with the PGYTECH is it's very close. If you use a large accessory, or for instance, if you have a Rode Wireless Go 2 receiver, it's going to cover up some of that shutter button. And now you won't have access to that shutter button. I like this one because it's a little bit farther away. I was a little concerned about having it directly over the lens, but it's really not a concern. I'm going to show you quick. If I hook up my mobile mic, and you see you've got a little bit of extension with this shock mount. But if I turn the camera on, you will see, oops, guess you got to look from this side. You'll see only if I move down quickly does that microphone jump into the shot. You may not even be able to see it, just barely shows up there. If you're panning and moving in a normal way, see, you saw it just popped in. You might see the tip of that microphone, but there's also another workaround for that too. I have a 1/4-20 cold shoe mount, which actually works out real nice, and I could just mount it on top of that. And now you can't see that microphone anywhere except for the cable. So I don't use that microphone that often. I use the DJI mics really more than anything else, which I'm actually using to record this video. Let me shut this off. That is the top. Now on this side is also another great feature. So you have standard access to your quick shot power button. You have access to your USB, but now you have full access to use the DJI mic. So as you can see, I can pop that in. It's nice and secure. It's not going anywhere. It has a recess, you can see right here, which is carved out. And I don't know why the other ones didn't do that. I think it's because they use this as a door instead of the back door, which this still stays nice and rigid. And the other doors come back here, which would make this very thin. So this was a big selling point for me. So as you can see, it works out well. If I need to go this way, it does not mount to the front. So if I'm vlogging, but if I'm vlogging, then I just pull out my extension because I'm not really moving around. So that will work, but anything else, I've just got it on back, and you really don't need to see this at all times. Once you get your settings straight, you're good to go. The last thing is the bottom. This side, I guess, before I get to the bottom, it's standard, just like the other ones. You open up the door, you have full access to your battery. And you do have a 1/4-20 mount, so that's also nice. I do have a magnetic mount that I like to use on the side here. So this is a little more secure. So if I put this, say, on the side of my car, whatever it happens to be, or I can use the bottom magnetic mount to put it horizontal to mount it to really anything. These are nice heavy-duty magnets. We go back to the bottom. The bottom has the 1/4-20, as I just mentioned. It has the standard quick release mount, but one thing you notice is it's flush with the bottom of the unit. I can now get my fingers in there, even my thumb. It's still not perfect, but I can get my thumb in there and release it much easier than I could with the PGYTECH. I think that is probably the biggest selling point for me, being able to get at this a little bit easier, especially because I use these quick mounts for everything. And I have, like I said, this, and actually normally I have a quick mount on here and I put this on the dash of my truck. But besides something that really needs to be super secure going down the road at 60 miles an hour, I may use the 1/4-20s, but other than that, these are very secure. This is actually an Osmo Action 2 magnetic mount, which are a little bit cheaper than buying them that were made direct specifically for the Action 3. You can get these on Amazon for a few bucks cheaper per mount. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about is there is a third option, which is the Ulanzi Cage, which has a few advantages and maybe some disadvantages similar. But as you can see here, the Ulanzi Cage looks very similar to the other two in regards to the build quality and features, but it also has the same problem as the PGYTECH. It has the top cold shoe being too close to the shutter button and makes it difficult to access. This one is actually closer to the shutter than the PGYTECH, which in my opinion is problematic. It also loads from the side, but it's not capable of mounting the DJI Mic, just like the PGYTECH. So you have to use an extension. The bottom does have a unique feature that some people might really like. Besides the usual flush mount, magnetic mount, it has a 1/4-20 like the small rig. It also has a flip down GoPro prongs for a thumb screw mount. Some people may like this, but I think the close proximity of the thumb screw to the bottom of the cage may be a little tight, but I guess if you're used to GoPro, then you're used to that. It is also about $10 more expensive than the $39 you'll pay for the PGYTECH or the small rig. But if you don't use the DJI Mic Rode wireless receiver that would cover the shutter button, it may be good for you. Now let me show you my bonus tip. So as I was just discussing, this mount is a little bit tight with this thumb screw for my fat fingers. This cage definitely is the best. I can get in here pretty quick and easy, squeeze the clips, get it off, but I have decided to do something a little bit different, which is take this thumb screw off, and I have a 1032 by 3/4 inch socketed cap screw. This may not be anything unusual for a number of people, but for me, it's been a lifesaver. So I usually do this without the camera on, but I usually don't swap these out. This is the way I normally have this. And now, as you can see, I have full access to both sides of the camera. Very easy. I can actually now take this camera off with one hand, which is very nice. As you'll see, I've got some pictures in my truck where I've got a windshield mount and a dash mount, and now I can just grab it and pull it right off with one hand, instead of trying to drive with your knee and use two hands, which I really don't recommend. But even upside down, same thing. Comes off and on, very easy. And I would never be able to do that with that thumb screw there, but I use these pretty much now exclusively on everything, besides some 1/4-20 mounts, you know, tripod and so on, or that magnetic mount I showed you. So this works out very well. I have been in heaven since I got that thumb screw out of there, and I just use these, and it holds it very nice and secure, but these GoPro mounts still give you the ability to do some adjusting. So that's my tip for today. It may not be anything ground shattering, especially for people who've been using GoPros for a long time. You've probably tried this and do this on some things, but the problem with the GoPro is the only way to get your camera off is to use the thumb screw. So that would mean you'd have to carry around an Allen wrench, which I'm going to carry around with me anyway, but I rarely will ever take this out because this mount will stay on here forever. I don't plan on taking it off. So I really appreciate you stopping by. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any suggestions on some different ways of doing what I outlined here, or you have a better item out there, or you disagree with something I said, please leave some comments down below. I'd really like to hear from you. And of course, if you like this video, please give me a like and a subscribe, and I would appreciate it. So until next time, thanks for watching. Bye now.